So if you just add up these two, unmanufactured tobacco plus cigarettes, this is almost contributing to what? Almost 88% of the total revenue of the company. An American multinational tobacco company made a takeover bid for Godfrey Phillips PLC. This stock has swung in the range of almost 20 to 25% in a very short span, roughly a month. They had three children, one Charu Modi, second one Lalit Modi. Did you hear something? Hey folks, CA Rachana Ranade here, and I welcome you all to a video which is about analyzing a small cap stock, and the name of the company is Godfrey Phillips India Ltd. Now this company is, as I mentioned, it's a small cap stock, but before I move on with the analysis, let me give you two disclaimers about this stock. Number one, it's extremely volatile. Now why am I saying this? For that, have a look at this chart. If you see, this stock has swung in the range of almost 20 to 25% in a very short span, roughly a month, and currently it is trading somewhere around the 2150 mark. But the big question, is this the right time to buy, or is it the time to add to your watch list? For that, first we have to do a proper fundamental analysis of the stock, then we have to do a technical analysis of the stock, and then decide on answering these questions. Before I move on with the analysis, one more big disclaimer is that this is no way a promotion of consuming tobacco. This is purely an understanding of the business of the company from an investment perspective. Tobacco consumption in any form is injurious to health. So now let's move on with an important point as to what does the company do, and for that the company itself has divided their whole business into three major segments. The very first one is tobacco, the second one is convenience stores, and the third one is confectionery. Now let's go one by one. The very first one is tobacco. So Godfrey Phillips India Ltd primarily manufactures cigarettes, and some of their popular brands include Foursquare, Red and White, Cavender's, Tipper, and North Pole. Company also manufactures and distributes the iconic brand Marlboro under a license agreement which they have signed with Philip Morris. Now you might be like, what Philip Morris? Where did this even name come from? Basically, Philip Morris holds 25.1% shares of Godfrey Phillips India Ltd, and there's a very interesting history about this. So we are going to do that in the upcoming few minutes. So keep on watching the video. So that is it about the very first segment, that is tobacco segment. Second one is about convenience stores. I'm sure you might have heard about this store 24/7, and they primarily operate in Delhi NCR, in Punjab, and in Telangana, and currently they have more than 145 stores or kiosks. The third one is confectionery. So in this category, they primarily sell toffees and candies. Now that you have understood that, okay, this is what the company mainly is into, now we need to understand about their revenue bifurcation, the revenue segmentation, the overall geographic presence. So that's what we are going to discuss in the immediate next section of the video. Well, like I told you that this company primarily is into cigarettes. So first we have to understand that out of the total revenue that this company earns, how much revenue is contributed by the cigarette sale. And for that, have a look at this pie chart. Now if you see here, 69.2% of the total revenue is contributed only by cigarettes. 19.2% is contributed by unmanufactured tobacco. It could be like tobacco leaves, tobacco patta, right? So if you just add up these two, unmanufactured tobacco plus cigarettes, this is almost contributing to what? Almost 88% of the total revenue of the company. If you check out retail goods, if you remember the convenience stores, that is contributing to roughly 10%, and balance cut tobacco, chewing products, other operating that is hardly contributing to 1.5% of the total revenue. Now let us also try and understand the revenue split by geography. Means what? How much revenue they are earning from within India and how much revenue they are earning from outside India. And for that, we'll do a comparative analysis, financial year 23 versus 22. We'll also try and understand the growth. So for that, have a look at this one. Now, if you see overall within India growth as compared to 22, it has grown by 24.7%, but outside India revenue has increased by 69.9%, so almost 70% increase in sales of products outside India. So if you feel that, okay, outside India growth is very large, but for that also have a look at this, the total figures itself are small. So like we say, the base is small, and that is why the growth looks to be very good. So I hope you have understood about the revenue split geographically, but now we have to also understand about the split in the market share. I'm sure everyone knows that Godfrey Phillips is the second largest in the organized cigarette market space. But who is the first largest? I'm sure everyone knows this. That is ITC. But how much is the share? And for that, have a look at this chart. ITC has a market share of 78% in the organized cigarette market space. Second highest is Godfrey Phillips India Ltd with 12%. So you can imagine, just have a look at this. Just have a look at the overall gap between the first player and second player. So Godfrey Phillips, even though it is second, it's clearly lagging the entire space. And the third category is all others put together that contribute just 10% of the total share. Now let's move on to another very interesting part in the video, which is about the company's history, and for that, have a look at this. The House of Godfrey Phillips was established in 1844 at London by cigar manufacturer named Godfrey Phillips. Godfrey Phillips was one of the first British companies to mass produce cigarettes. Godfrey Phillips India Ltd was created in 1936 when India was still under the British rule. In 1968, Philip Morris Incorporated, an American multinational tobacco company, made a takeover bid for Godfrey Phillips plc, and Philip Morris International Financial Corporation, a wholly owned subsidiary of Philip Morris Incorporated, was successful in acquiring full ownership of Godfrey Phillips Limited UK. During the mid of 1979, Philip Morris International Financial Corporation USA offered its equity shares for sale to the public, reducing its holding to less than 40%. In 2011, Modi Group announced that it was planning to acquire majority control in Godfrey Phillips India from the American tobacco company Philip Morris. Presently, Godfrey Phillips India Ltd is an associate of the KK Modi Group of companies and Philip Morris Global Brands Incorporated, where Philip Morris holds 25.1% stake and Modi Enterprises holds 47.73% of the company's equity shares. Well, in the history of the company, when I said Modi Enterprises holds 47.73% shares in the company, I'm sure you might be like, Modi Enterprises? Who Modi? And for that, have a look at this. Mr. Gujarmal Modi was the person who founded Modi Enterprises way back in 1933. His son, KK Modi, got married to Miss Beena Modi. They had 3 children, one Charu Modi, second one Lalit Modi. Did you hear something? Right. And the third one was Mr. Samir Modi. Now, currently, Mr. Lalit Modi does not hold any position in the company, but he was the executive director of this same company from 1992 to 2010. And currently, the executive director of the company is Mr. Samir Modi, and his mother, Beena Modi, is currently the chairman and managing director of the company. Now let's move on with the industry analysis. Well, India is the second largest producer of tobacco with an estimated annual production of around 800 million kgs. Now you might be like, wow, second largest. Who will be the who will be the largest? Has to be China. And with how much? 2,612 million kgs of production. So you can, China is almost 3 times in the production capacity as compared to India. But if I were to understand the overall arable land of India that is occupied by tobacco, that is a meager 0.24%. So is there more scope for production? Answer is yes. Now that was about the production side. Let's go on to the consumption side as well. Out of the total world population, India contributes to 18% of the world population, but out of the number of people who smoke legal cigarettes, of course I'm talking about, India's consumption is less than 2%. So don't take inspiration from this. Don't make it a point to increase this number, okay? But now we have to understand that whether the overall consumption of cigarettes, has that gone up or has that gone down in the last 3-4 decades? For that, have a look at this chart. Well, this one is about last 4 decades, and you will understand that the total consumption over the last 4 decades has increased by almost 50%. But the consumption of legal cigarettes has gone down by almost 43%, whereas other forms of tobacco, which include something like chewing tobacco, or it will also include illegal cigarettes, that has gone up by almost 75%. Now you might be like, why is the share of legal cigarette consumption decreasing over the last 4 decades? And for that, have a look at this chart. You will understand that based on the different types of cigarettes, based on the length or based upon the filters, you will see that it is a heavily taxed product, with GST falling into the 28% category. An additional GST compensation cess rate is charged. There is a basic excise duty involved. There is an NCCD involved, which is like National Calamity Contingency Duty. And because of all these taxes, out of the total MRP, more than 50% comprises of only the tax component. Now you can understand with this chart that all the government might be earning a huge chunk of revenue based on the taxation of these products. So you can also be a contributor, not to the government's revenue with the consumption of such products, but you can be a contributor to the financial literacy increase in India by smashing the like button and sharing this video with all your friends. Now let's move on with the fundamental analysis, the financial analysis basically of the company, and for that let's move on to screener.in. Now, if you see here, the market cap of the company is barely 10,500 crores, so it's a small cap. The ROE, ROC ratios are good, 18.2% and 21.5% respectively. Debt to equity is just 0.1, which is very good. Pledge percentage is 0. If you check out stock PE, that is at 13.1 as compared to industry PE of 15.4. So definitely as compared to the industry average, it is available at a cheaper price. Now, if you have a look at the quarterly results, June results, if you are seeing latest data available, the sales numbers, the operating profit number, the PBT numbers, all are at an all-time high. So be it QOQ comparison, be it YOY comparison, the numbers in this quarter look to be good. But if you check out the profit and loss, that is on a TTM basis, here also you can see that overall the sales number is at an all-time high. The operating profit number is also at an all-time high. The operating profit margin is a shade lower as compared to March 2022, just 1%, but still 23% looks good enough. The PBT number is at 892 crores, which is also at an all-time high. Now, if you see here, one problem that I can see with the company is the compounded sale growth. 10-year compounded sale growth is just 5%, even though TTM sales growth is at 30%. But one positive sign here can be like the compounded profit growth. 10-year, for sales it was 5%, but for profit it is 15%. For TTM sales growth it is 30% and TTM profit growth is 72%. So it's always a good sign if profit is able to beat the growth in profit is able to beat the growth in sales. Stock price CAGR is also fair enough. 10 years is at 15%. 1 year it has risen quite nicely at 81%. ROE, as I mentioned, was definitely good enough. The company's reserves are steadily increasing. Debt ratios, the debt levels are pretty less. So all in all, a good balance sheet. The operating cash flow is also at an all-time high at 736 crores. Now, if you have a look at the shareholding pattern, FIIs is pretty much stable around 10%. DII's stake has reduced a bit, but the public stake has increased from 14% to almost 15.83%. Now, this was it about the financials. Definitely, I can say above average financials, but what about the technicals? Now, if you have a look at the chart, by the way, this is a weekly chart of Godfrey Phillips. You can see this is more like an up flag pattern that has been formed, but only this part, if you focus on this, this is more like a pennant, right? What is the current market price? As I shoot the video, it's around 2,136. And if you have seen last 1 month, it has gone up almost 15%. Remember, I told you in the beginning of the video that this stock is pretty much volatile, right? Now, I'm sure you already know about this flag and pole pattern. I want you all to tell me in the comment section below that if this is honored, then what could be the possible price of this stock? Well, please note that this is not a stock recommendation. This is only for the purpose of a technical analysis study for the price movement. If you don't know how to do that, how to analyze all these, of course, everyone knows that I have a separate course on technical analysis. You can visit our website www.rachanaranade.com for that, and you can also apply the coupon code CARRYT for some special discounts. So let's move on with the last part of the video, which is about the risks involved for the company. The very first one is geographical concentration risk. Now, the company majorly operates in the northern and western parts of India, and over 90% of their revenue is contributed from these regions. So I can say there is a concentration risk for the company. Second one is exposure to intense competition. If you remember, I had told you that ITC is the dominant player with such a huge market share, and the second one, even if it is GPIL, it is just 12% of the total market share. So the competition from the largest player for them is pretty much intense. And the third risk is about the vulnerability to regulatory changes. So if you have seen the budget, every single budget, people expect that somewhere or the other, the taxes for their products should increase. So that is a risk. And also there is a risk about the advertisement that these companies can do. There are a lot of restrictions which are put for such products for advertisements. But there is no risk, there is no harm for you. Share this video with your friends, to like this video, and do let me know in the comment section if you have this stock in your portfolio or not. Do let me know in the comment section as well if you have added this to the watch list or not. And if you want to gain more and more knowledge, check out these videos as well. Till then, take care. Jai Hind and bye-bye.